Okay, welcome to another mini lesson from Inner Compass Coaching. Go to lifecoachlifestyle.com. And if you're just following us, be sure to hit that subscribe, share, like, comment, all the fun stuff, right? Today, we're going to go into something that I've used on multiple occasions. It's actually something from the realm of neuro-linguistic programming called the Swish pattern. So in the last few weeks, we talked about how to shift beliefs, reframe meaning, anchor emotional states. Let's talk today about changing reactions instantly. So this is real important. When a client keeps responding to something automatically, fear, hesitation, procrastination, you don't have to talk them into change. You can recode it, and you can do it fast. So the Swish pattern. What is the Swish pattern? The Swish pattern helps replace an unwanted image, reaction, or trigger, and install a powerful new self-image or behavior, a new response, okay? It works by accessing the automatic mental picture that drives the problem behavior. We have something called an initial automatic response to everything, okay? So swishing, for lack of better words, is a new resourceful image that becomes the new default. Neurologically, it's a pattern interrupt and visual programming rolled into one. Like I said, I've used this so many times. I've used it so many times with different clients. So let's jump into it. So when do we use this? We use the Swish pattern when clients say things like, every time I open my laptop, I freeze. Every time I see their name pop up, I feel anxious. I just picture myself failing before I even try. These are some of the patterns. So what they've done is they have an internal trigger image that precedes a disempowering response. So you can swish it. So let's talk about the classic swish, okay? You have to, number one, identify the trigger image. So what image pops into your mind just before the unwanted behavior? Okay, number one. Number two, you got to create the desired self-image. If you were, let's say somebody gets fearful, they doubt themselves, they freeze in fear, gotcha. But what if you were totally confident, power, successful? What would that look like in your mind? See, we want to get a visual image. What would that look like? How would you look? How would your body look? How would you stand, sit? You want to get a visual image. Then we want to do the visual setup. We want to make the trigger image big and bright. Okay? And put the desired image in small and dark into the corner of that frame. Then we want to rapidly shrink the trigger image and swish in the desired image. So basically, you're taking two mental images and you're bringing the big one. You're taking the big one, which is the negative, and you're decreasing it as the smaller positive image grows brighter, closer, and stronger. And you do it 7 times pretty quick. Big, small, swish, reverse again and again. And then, now, there's other ways you can do this too. But do this 5 to 7 times. Then ask them to open their eyes and think about something. Okay? When you think of the trigger, what we want to do is we want to reconnect this over and over. So there's a number of ways of doing this. With one of the most, I think, important is actually helping people see their image go from their negative image from color to black and white. And if in black and white to even hard to hear. The sounds are not there. And then even scratch. I don't have the special effects of this. But make it scratchy. Make it smaller. Crumple it up. And as it's crumpled up and dissolves, in comes the bright new future. Are you with me? So again, I've done this multiple times. If for our private clients, we'll do a complete swish pattern. In fact, I think we should walk everybody through a swish pattern. So here's the key. What are 3 common triggers that a client brings up? What image in their mind do they hold? And can you switch that image? What should it look like? What would the default image be, and what self-image could replace it? And then actually on our next coaching call, we're going to do some one-on-one swish patterns. I was working with one client who had a really, really horrible experience with her mother, and it affected her decades later. Every time something would come up, well, my mom would say, well, this, and it was always going back to her mom. So we could spend years in therapy, or we could do a switch pattern. And so we brought it to mom in this one situation. Now, mom wasn't a bad person, but it's one situation that they couldn't let go of. And we created the image. I had to replay it in the mind, made it big, bright. She sort of cried. And then what could it have looked like? What should she see? And we did the swish pattern. We made the bigger picture smaller, 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 and then the desired outcome bigger, bigger, bigger. We made the old picture of her mom black and white, fuzzy, hard to hear, scratches like on a chalkboard, hard to see. We crumpled it up and we let it dissolve as the new picture come up. Now, I told them ahead of time, this may seem weird, but just because it seems weird doesn't mean it's not extremely effective. We did this about 3 or 4 times, and there was a massive breakthrough. And I was expecting, well, on the next call, we may have to do it again or again. We never did. It was a massive breakthrough. And there's different ways of doing a switch pattern. We'll get into more on our one-on-one calls. But if you've ever heard switch pattern and thought, well, what is it? Well, now, yeah, you have an idea, and we'll go deeper again. All right, go to lifecoachlifestyle.com, pick up your free book. I look forward to seeing you there. God bless.